Hey everybody, it's Keegan here. I'm back with another video for you guys, and it's time for another movie review once again. And today we're going to be talking about Gladiator and the sequel, Gladiator 2, which actually just came out over the weekend. So let's talk about them. Starting with the first film, Gladiator. This film was directed by Ridley Scott, and it was originally released on May 5th, 2000. And this film was also the Best Picture winner of the Academy Awards in 2001. I actually watched this movie for the first time over the weekend on Friday night, and I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And do I think it deserved winning Best Picture? I don't know. The only other movie from the nominees from that year that I've seen was Traffic, which I also thought was great. I'll probably do a review of that movie one day. I didn't see the other movies that were nominated that year, which were Aaron Brockovich, Chocolat, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But anyways, as always, we'll go through the story of the film really quickly, and then we'll get into my thoughts on it. So let's take a dive into Gladiator. In this film, it follows a man named Maximus, played by Russell Crowe, who is a general for the Roman Empire army. And after defeating some barbarians, he meets up with his friend, the emperor named Marcus, who is dying. And before he dies, Marcus chooses Maximus to be the next ruler of Rome. But then his son Commodus, played by Joaquin Phoenix, is not happy about it, so he orders his men to murder Maximus's family and capture Maximus and put him into slavery, and forcing him to battle in the arena and become a gladiator until he dies. And so Maximus becomes a gladiator and tries to take revenge on Commodus for murdering his family and those responsible. And the story is pretty straightforward. You can probably guess where it goes from here, and that's what it is in a nutshell. I don't really have too much to say about this movie, honestly, so we'll fly through this one pretty quickly. But I really enjoyed Gladiator. It's got some good action. Russell Crowe is really good in the film. The set designs are really good in this film, too. And it looks pretty spot on, I must say, to what ancient Rome looks like. Although I'm not a big history buff, but it does look pretty spot on in my opinion. And Joaquin Phoenix is also really good in the film. And I don't know if it's just me, but Joaquin Phoenix kind of looks like Ramsay Bolton from Game of Thrones in this movie. I don't know why he kind of looks like him. But I really enjoyed this film, and also really like the music too. The music in this film is really well done, and it goes with the film perfectly. And it's a well-made film, and it's one of Ridley Scott's best films, in my opinion. And like I mentioned, I'm not sure if I would say if this film deserved winning Best Picture. I think Traffic was slightly a better movie than this, but that's just my opinion. But overall, it's still a great film. I enjoy this one for what it is. It's entertaining, and yeah, it's a great film. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I don't have much to say about this one, so I'm going to give Gladiator an 8 out of 10. Now we move on to the sequel, Gladiator 2, which just came out on Friday. And much like the first film, it was directed by Ridley Scott, and this movie actually came out 24 years after the first film. Now, I gotta be honest, I was thinking about avoiding this movie when it was coming out, but after hearing some praises for it, I decided to check it out. Though personally, I don't think the first movie really needed a sequel. So I saw the film in theaters yesterday, and it was decent. It definitely wasn't as good as the first film. I think the first film should have stayed as a standalone film, but that's just my opinion at least. And we'll get to more on that a little bit. But right now, we'll just get into the story quickly, and then we'll get into my thoughts on it. Now, this movie takes place 16 years after the first movie ends, and it follows a man named Lucius, played by Paul Mescal, who you might know from the movie All of Us Strangers, which I actually talked about that movie on my channel earlier this year. That's a fantastic movie. Anyways, so gets captured after some tyrant rulers of Rome start to conquer land from different parts of the world, and then his home gets conquered by the Romans, and he witnesses his wife get killed during the battle while trying to defend his city. He then becomes a gladiator and is forced to fight in the Colosseum until he dies. And he plans to take revenge on the general who was responsible for the attack on his home and the two brothers who rule Rome. And the story is very similar to the first movie, so yeah, you can probably guess where it goes from here. Now, I want to say, I saw this film in IMAX, and it was a lot of fun seeing it in IMAX and watching the battles and hearing how loud the sound is from like the battles in IMAX is definitely worth the price of admission, in my opinion. While the movie is entertaining and decent, it's nowhere near as good as the first movie. But don't get me wrong, it does have some things I like about it. The battle sequences are good. The acting is really good. Denzel Washington and Paul Mescal are both really great in the film. And the music is also really good too. But I do have some criticism with this film. My first criticism is that the story is recycled from the first movie. They basically recycled the story from the first film, only it's a different character, and it takes place many years after the first movie, of course. But yeah, other than not just that, there's a lot of CGI in the film that you can notice, and some of it is noticeably kind of bad. Like, there's a scene later in the film where they have the arena flooded with water, and they have two teams battling on ships, and there's sharks in the water, and you can tell it's CGI sharks, and the CGI looks kind of bad. Like most movies that use CGI these days, looks kind of shitty. The green screen in this movie is not bad though, just the CGI looks kind of shitty. Another thing I have criticism with this movie is that the last act of the film feels kind of rushed, and the final confrontation between the main character and the antagonist is kind of rushed and doesn't really deliver a satisfying resolution, at least in my opinion, but it does feel rushed. But overall, it's not a bad movie. It was a little bit better than what I was thinking, but I still don't think the first movie needed a sequel. And there is definitely some flaws, and it feels inferior to the first film. But I don't regret watching it. I had fun seeing it in theaters, especially in IMAX. And I would say seeing it in IMAX is worth the price of admission. But other than some of the issues I have with this movie, I thought this was a decent sequel. Although I wouldn't be in a big rush to checking it out again anytime soon. But it was fun seeing in theaters. I prefer the first film over this one. And I know Ridley Scott plans to make a Gladiator 3. Okay, I guess. Maybe I'll check it out. I don't know. But again, I think the first movie should have stayed as a standalone film, but that's just my opinion at least. But overall, it wasn't a bad movie. It was decent. Anyways, I don't have anything else to add, so I'm giving Gladiator 2 a 6.7 out of 10. Alright everybody, that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, as always, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment below, subscribe for more videos like this, and more videos will be coming out soon, so stay tuned for more. Anyways, guys, hope you all have a great day. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Take care, everybody. Peace. Bye-bye.